Hello and welcome back to Master Game Design, Unreal Engine 5, Stylized Environment and Third-Person Blueprint course. In the last lesson we left off by creating the visuals for our widget and for our quest giver widget, and in this one we're going to continue with the code. So let's begin. Let's start by creating some variables that we're going to need. First of all, we're going to need this text as a variable, so let's click on it and say it's variable and name it quest message. And we're gonna need this text as a variable also, so let's click on it. Make variable, say player accept message. Compile and save two variables, two text variables. Now, how are we going to populate this message? This could go instantly populating it and it will appear instant, and every time you press something it appears instant. But I think it's cooler to make an effect, like a typewriter effect. So we're going to need a variable. This is an event dispatcher, long click. So we need a variable that's going to be of the type float, and it's going to, let's call it typewriter speed. And we need another one. Say message delay speed. Not message, first message. First letter delay speed. Because let's say you want to make an icon appear that's flashing before the message starts. You should have a variable to set a delay for when the message will start. And we're gonna need the message, of course, so we're gonna need a string variable. Call this message, and we're gonna need a string variable again, but of array type, because it's gonna be the message character array. And actually we want to know if it's already typing, so I'm gonna create another bool variable, not array, not a single variable, and call it typing. And if I want to return to my quest giver a message that the message has finished, like send him a signal that the message has finished, we should have also a quest giver as a reference. And I'm gonna select quest giver, type quest giver, and I'll find the blueprint, and we need object reference, and it became of that type. Now you could find it and get all class actors and everything, but it would be more optimal to expose it on spawn, so when the widget is created we can give it its reference, like you create widget and we go to quest. So it's not only for the editor, but it's also for when you're spawning a blueprint. The same would be for an actor when you're expose and spawn variable. Anyway, so we're gonna use a macro this time to create a typewriter effect, because functions are, you cannot add time sensitive things in functions, but macros, I cannot add delay here if I type it correctly. Delay. So if I did it a function, I can't. I can do set delay length or other things, but inside here there cannot be time things that are time affected. You cannot program time actually on functions, so that's one of the difference that macros and functions have. Anyway, also there is a difference. We're gonna use local variables, and macros use local variables a little bit different than functions. You have to create them. So this is a local variable that you assign the values to it. This is the way local variables work in macros. So let's do some inputs and outputs that we're gonna need for the typewriter, and actually name our micro typewriter. So for inputs, we're gonna need two executables, and I'm gonna select exec as a variable type. So you have two executables here, and one would be enter, the start of it, and the other would be break, just in case we want to break. So we're gonna need this local boolean. We're gonna need another one actually also, and we're gonna set it to no at the beginning. So we also need to, we're gonna use this boolean for break. Set it to, I'm sorry, I need to drag it from here, because if I copy paste this, it gives me wildcards, and until, even if I connect afterwards the value, it expects a value here as a reference, but here I can hard code values that I want. So we have our break system kinda set up here. This typewriter, this macro, will get a bit messy because we have a lot of local bools. We're gonna try to keep it as tidy as possible, but it is gonna be a little bit messy. So for outputs, what we're gonna need? We're gonna need an exec, that is the set text one. This is gonna be setting the text, and we're gonna need, of course, the text itself. Gonna be type text, and we're gonna need an exit when it's finished. I didn't set the text here. This would be executable also, and we're gonna need a boolean to know if it has exited with full message or with not full message, because let's say we break, for some reason we break during half of the message, it should we should have this information. So I'm gonna name it full text. If it's true, it's full. If it's not, it's not true. First of all, let's create our local variables that we need. So we need another local boolean that we're gonna set to false. We're gonna need this boolean to see if the message is finished, is complete, and we're gonna need this delay actually. We're gonna need a local text. This is for our output. This will be populated with each of our letters. And we actually need a local string. This will be, we're going to be adding each string array and then looping through the text and adding to this, and we're going to see it on code. And we're going to need a local integer to increase then get every time the next letter. So let's assign this. Nothing. I'm not going to tidy much because everything's going to move. There's going to be a lot of things. So first thing we should do is our first delay before the first message. And I don't think we have given a value to this. Let's put it on 0.1. Like after you press accept, it takes 0.1 to restart the message to show the next message. Then, since we have a time delay, we should ask, during this time, has break been called? Because if break has been called, we should stop here. And we should assign again. Our text to nothing. So print nothing. And since we called break, our integer that moves to the next letter should be 0. And then we go to exit. Now, maybe the most important part. What happens when we have not break? We should assign our text to this already has started to become a mess. Yeah, they look fine. Anyway, we should assign this to whatever our local string variable is. So, yeah, let's make a breakpoint here also. Read out mode. Looks fine. Anyway, so after we have assigned, we want to do two things. First of all, set text to whatever the text is. So I'm gonna just give this to here. Already starts becoming beautiful art. And okay, now for the most important part of this is we need our local string that we are setting the values to the text to add the next character from our array. So I'm gonna get, and the number I'm getting should be our local int. Yeah, this should go from here actually. And maybe disconnect this from here, get it from here. Now it's prettier. A little bit more clear. It's not that clear, but it is a little bit more clear what goes where. So we are setting our string, then we are again from here assigning a string +1 to our local value. Now we want to increase also our local integer. So I'm gonna assign the most hard part is making this look pretty. So I'm gonna assign this +1. So it moves to the next integer. So this will get the next one the next time it will get. And now we're gonna need a delay for our next letter. So I'm gonna get typewriter speed, gonna connect it here, and then I'm gonna ask, since there is a time delay thing, have we break? Yeah, so this comes from way over here, and yeah. So we are asking if it's break again, because this one assigns if it's break, if we call break. So if we didn't call break, actually, sorry, if we did call break, we need to go to exit. So we're going to assign everything to 0 again and call to exit. Now, next question. Is the message finished? Like, what this means? Do we get this one, the array of our letters, we get the length of it. So the length, though, is not minus because an array starts from 0. And so we do a +1. And is it equal to our local variable? Because the +1 is because we have the +1 here. And also is 0 based. So if this is false, actually if it's true, it should go to exit and send us that if it's a full message or not. And if it's false, it should go back to our first question. Now, to be fair, if the game is paused, this will not work. Like, if you wanted to make a check for if the game is paused, we could do a custom way. Like, let's make a reroute here. And let's put a branch here. Ask, is game paused? So this will go here, actually. And if it's false, it will continue here, and here we put a delay. This is not a very official way to make a check for it, but let's say we're checking every point 0, 1. If the game is false, this can cause an endless loop, but it won't because it's game paused. It checks if the game is paused. If it's paused, I'm gonna see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.